live stream host Tim back attempting to live stream again. Okay, it has been a minute since we've had a chance to live stream together. A big part of that is because I've been having technical difficulties the last few times I tried to live stream. However, I miss hanging out with y'all, and I got quite a few requests from people asking when I was going to stream again. Praveen, I'm looking at you first and foremost. So I said, you know what? This evening, a little later than I normally try to, live stream, but we're gonna give it a go. Actually, I gotta put this on. Hold on, what am I trying to put this is what I'm trying to change. Right here, live chat. There we go. Okay. So let's see if this is working. Okay, we're D Skizzle, I see you, okay. We got engagement, okay? Victory, I'm good. I cannot complain. Hope you're good too. Big news. Okay. I'm listening. I'm all ears. What we got going on? How's everybody doing out there? Appreciate y'all coming through. Okay, numbers starting to creep up. People already hitting the like button. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Saved by grace. We're here. Hopefully this works out. I got really strong Wi-Fi. So it shouldn't be any issues. What up, Lee? Good to see you. Checking it from Glacier. I say things. I do too. Hello. What up, Rainy? Dingle. What is that? You took your like back. Nothing wrong with that. El Nomad. How you doing? Good to see you. How you doing, David? And there's another two Davids. Okay. No, the same David. Okay, I'm getting behind the guy. It's been so long. Okay, Victory said, book my train ticket out west finally. Yes, today for the end of August, early September, Amtrak from New York to California. Nice. That is going to be a trip. You're going to enjoy that. That is awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, man, that's a nice trip. You're going to enjoy yourself. That is a nice trip. Congratulations. What up, Angela? Good to see you, Angela. Good to see you. And saved, finally moved. Nice. I'm glad the channel could give you a little push, a little inspiration, if you will. Winter Hike, what up? Good to see you. Angela doing a little food shopping. Okay. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you. It's a good day for me too when I get a chance to stream. So thank you. Victory, I'm sure you can find something on Coolworks if you want to live out west. I'm sure you can find something. Yeah. You'll be able to find something. If that's the goal, you'll be able to make it work. Loretta checking in. Yeah, I'm good. Can't complain. What up, Easton? Alexi, I appreciate that. Said I love your videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, we got it. We've been cranking the videos out. But I said, man, I got to get back to doing the streaming. So here we are. I'm at a co-working space. And yeah, this is the booth you go in to like use the phone. So it may sound a little different. Hopefully it sounds good. But yeah, this is the booth you go in to use the phone, but nobody's here at night. So like during the day, they're like, hey, if you need to make a phone call, go in the booth so you don't bother nobody. But nobody's here at night, or in the evening, excuse me. So I figure no one would mind if I sat in here the whole time. Like I could sit out there, I could sit out there, you know what I mean? But I was like, this seems a little more intimate, a little more private. And I'm like, there's nobody out there. Look how shiny my forehead is. I was like, there's nobody out there, so I don't think anybody will care. So Loretta, awesome, said I'm about to leave the farm job as I'm realizing I've been taken advantage of, and and it's just time to do me. That's a beautiful time in our life when we realize that. When we realize like, hey, this ain't the thing for me. I got to do me. I got to move on. Actually, that's what's happened at my current job. I put my notice in. So end of July, I will be back doing whatever it is that I do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just realized it wasn't the place for me. Felt like I was kind of being taken advantage of a little myself. Uh, and it's time to move on. It's time to get back to doing what I do, you know? So I've been working pretty much straight for like over a year, which is crazy for me. So I'm right there with you. Sometimes it's just time to move on, you know? So yeah. Kashif, I just been, I just been honestly working. You know, I moved out of my apartment, got an Airbnb, but still was just working. But, you know, time to do something different. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm glad you was thinking about me. You know, always come back through. Mad, yeah, we've been trying to hit some of those different topics lately. Thank you, JK. Victory said, anything helpful to know in terms of how to afford being a nomad temporarily, food wise, lodging wise, public transportation? My biggest tip would be planning ahead with your money. Okay, when you're nomading, especially if you're going to be doing like seasonal work or other stuff like that, spending money is different. Um, and so you always got to be factoring in next month, right? So, when like, even me, like when I'm in one place for a while and just kind of stable, I never go crazy spending money, but like I know I'm getting a paycheck coming in, a couple weeks from now, I can buy the stuff. But like when I'm back on the road, when you're nomading, yeah, it's important to realize, any money I don't spend this month helps me out next month, right? So I think that's the big tip is just kind of like really keep an eye on your spending, and lots of research when it comes to lodging and transportation and all that stuff. Lots of research. You know how carpenters say like measure twice, cut once, or whatever it is. That's how I am when it comes to like booking travel and booking hotels, things of that nature. I do a lot of research beforehand, and I typically only book with places where I can cancel, like has free cancellation or has free cancellation up until like a week beforehand, stuff like that. You know, I do a lot of research, figure out, the best deals. I don't always go the cheapest. That was my mistake in the beginning. I used to always go for the cheapest when it came for lodging. I found myself in some bad neighborhoods quite a few times. Some places that when the Uber slowed down to let me out, I didn't want to get out. He said, "Sir, you got to get out." I said, "You sure this is my stop?" He said, "Yes, you're the only one in the car." So yeah, just lots of research. Be, try to get the best deals. Doesn't always have to be the cheapest. Stay places you feel comfortable. And I'll say another big thing too, and this sounds a little woo woo, but that's me. Trust your gut a lot. Trust your gut a lot when you're on the road, when you're traveling, even when it comes to booking accommodations, booking your flights. Do the things that feel right, and the more you do it, the more you'll get a sense of what works for you. But yeah, research is a big one. And these days, people get crazy whenever I talk about AI, but I'm gonna say it again. You can use AI to help you with your research as well, or you can do it old school. But yeah, just lots of research and whatever you're wondering about. I mean, you can literally type it in Google, whatever search engine or AI program you use. How do I find the best deals on food when I'm nomading? I'm gonna be in this area these months. Where's the best place to find inexpensive food? You know what I mean? Like you can really get detailed. You don't have to do like top level. Like you can go bottom level, like micro research. But you'll the more you do it, the more you'll figure it out. Where you at in the chat? Oh, what up, game? I got my water with me always. Hey, Loretta, I feel like there's times in life, you said, no matter what I'm doing, it's not working. It's funny to speak it into existence, makes it more plausible. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the way it works. We've been programmed to believe that that's woo woo hippie talk, but like that's the way it works. Like our ancestors, like this was normal to them. You talk about it, it happens. If you talk about it, you speak it into existence. That's what you do. You speak things into existence. We think, oh, you have to have blueprints and you got to be an inventor and you got to, no, like you speak things into existence, you know? Um, and I think, I know myself, I've gone through times in life where it just didn't seem like anything was working. And I'd be like, what am I doing? Because like other times, like I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Other times, everything was working. And that's when I had to realize, like, oh, it's you know, it's all balance. You can't expect all throughout life at all times everything to work. Just like you can't expect all throughout life at all times things to not work. Like eventually it balances back out. And so I just had to tell myself, oh, I'm this might be a testing season. You know, I'm trying to speak these things into existence and nothing's happening. This might just be a test to see, am I serious about this? Am I just going to try to speak it into existence for 2 weeks? Or will I hang in there doing it for 2 months? You know what I mean? So, actually, folks, hang on one second. I'm going to go get me a drink, not an alcoholic drink. This place has like free beverages as part of the package. I'm going to go get me a little, I'll be right back. Get a Izzy sparkling strawberry. Okay. I meant to grab one before I came in here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, last month, middle of last month, I got a membership at this co working space. One of the best things I've done. One of the best things I've done. It's amazing. Where's that? What up, Alex? Brett said I was thinking about going to India for a while, but I don't think you want to go anymore. You like it here in the States. Hey, Brett, that's the beauty of it, you know? If you decide later you want to go, then you go. Saved by grace, glad to hear you're finally sober. That is awesome. That is awesome. He said, watched him long enough, you bound to live your authentic, joy-filled life. Sometimes it take a while, but you know, I try to get everybody there. I try to stay there. You know, we try to get everybody there. Grog, people ask me this all the time. Have I thought about moving abroad? Yes, I have. I'll be honest, the few times I've been abroad, I kind of was ready to come back home. And I wish that wasn't the case. And maybe I just need to go abroad more. Maybe I just need to visit different countries. But all the logic says move to another country where it's cheaper, better food, better healthcare, you know, better so many different things. But I just haven't found that country where I just want it to be, which makes sense because like I haven't even found the city or the state in America where I want to be all the time. You know what I mean? So like if my home country that I love, I haven't found a home base, you know, that I just want to be there forever. You know, it's going to be hard to find that outside the country quickly, you know? So I know other people, yeah, they decide they want to move to the Philippines, they go visit, they love it, they move there. That was not my experience. So it's just a matter of if I ever move over, go visit overseas, and there's a place I'm like, man, I could live here. Well, let's go for it. But until that happens, like I can't make it happen. Just like finding a home base here in the States, like I can't make it happen. You know, like it just has to, I'm not going to force myself to live somewhere I don't want to be, you know? Hey, Raphael, we definitely gonna keep showing that nature scenery. We definitely gonna keep showing that nature scenery. That's kind of our thing. So yeah, yeah, that's not going nowhere. Hey, I appreciate you saying that, Lee. Appreciate you saying that. Shelby, first live, welcome. Jay Squiggle, I honestly, I think I'm gonna just do. I'm taking August off. I'm taking the month of August off. So I actually have my Airbnb here in Montana until the end of August. Excuse me. So I'm taking August off, and I'm probably just going to chill out here in Montana. After that, I still don't know. Got a couple places I'm thinking about visiting. I kind of want to try out a couple new cities maybe. I'm sure I'll end up in Denver area eventually. I'm sure I'll swing through Portland, you know. But I really don't have a idea I really don't have a plan yet. Which I was telling a friend of mine the other day. I was like, normally I'd be freaking out right now, but like I think I just know it's meant for me to leave the job. So I'm just focused on getting through this last month. And I know whatever's on the other side of this job is going to be better, right? It was a great opportunity while it was a great opportunity. Um, but the time has come to move on. So y'all know me. You know, a lot of times I just take it as it comes. You know, I set intentions like I'm trying to find a home base and I want to do some overseas traveling. Um, I set a few intentions, and then I just kind of roll with whatever happens until those intentions are met. And I'm sure that's what will happen this time. You know. Hey, Rowan, I'm glad I could introduce you to seasonal work. That's awesome. That's awesome. 69 said, "What's good? What's really good? Life. Hey, life is good. Life is amazing. Is what it should be." Lee got a new Chromebook. You up there in Glacier making all kind of money, Lee. I'm happy, man. You be living your best life now. For a while there, I was nervous. Now I feel like you living your best life. I'm happy. ADN says, why are people from 9 to 5 jobs always giving out negative vibes and animosity and causing people to feel dread, exhausted, mentally and physically drained? What is your advice to deal with this issue? Answer your first question. I think everybody down there to the job is giving off those vibes, or a lot of them, because like that's not the natural way for us to work. Human beings don't mind working. Like that's what we do. But this going into the office or going down there to the plant for 40 hours a week working for somebody else, that's not natural. And we know it. We know it. And while some people are still able to maintain a good attitude, a lot of people it's just, you know what I mean? Deep down inside, none of us like it. Unless it's just a job you really love. There's a lot of jobs we can tolerate, but nobody wants to be there. And if you have to get up day in and day in, in and month out, year in and year out, and do something you don't want to do, eventually it's going to manifest itself in that type of behavior. Don't nobody want to be there, and if people haven't maybe done the work, or they don't realize. I know myself. Sometimes when I'm at work, I start, especially if I don't eat, I start giving off crazy vibes, and I have to go back and apologize to people because I don't want to be there. This isn't natural. This is not natural, the way we work. And I think that's why. As far as dealing with it, I don't know if I'm the best person to talk about how to deal with it, because I leave. Like, you know what I mean? I take it as long as I can take it, then yeah, I leave. So try to find something better, or do my own thing for a while. But I think it's we behave that way at work because the way we work isn't natural. You know? You put anybody in a situation they don't want to be in long enough, they start acting crazy. Yeah, Angela, I had no clue about those clips about people coming here for the World Cup and like getting a different view of America and loving America. Like somebody turned me on to that, and then the algorithm these days is so tight on YouTube. It starts showing me a ton of those. So I spent a whole evening deep diving into that, and like yeah, like it was. I'm glad people got to see like we have our issues here in America, but it's a great country to come visit. And live in if you live in the right area. Thanks, Ray. Venom, I did talk about celibacy in a video before when I practiced it for a year. My opinion on it was great for me. I've said many times that having that year where I was like, I'm not going to have sex, really helped change my mindset about a lot of the women in my life and women in general. Because even though I grew up with my mom, my sisters, um, and I tried to always treat women with respect. I do think that younger Tim, while he respected women, he also still wanted to have sex with all of them. You know what I mean? Like that was where we was trying to get to. And after that year of just saying for 365 days, I'm not trying to get with nobody. That kind of put that to the eventually it put that to the back of my mind. And like, I feel like my friendships with a lot of my female friends, a lot of the women in my life grew because I wasn't constantly like focused on that. And that's when I realized I'm like, bro, like I don't even we chilling, you know what I mean? Like I'm enjoying being able to be this close and not even, if it is that cool, but like if it's not that, we don't need to make it that. And yeah, my mindset shifted so much in that year that I'm so glad I did it. And that's why like even when the year was up, I really, every now and then, if I meet the right person and it's that, let's have a little fun. Nothing wrong with that. As much as society tries to make sex seem wrong, there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? Two consenting adults, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just not even, I never went back to that place where I just felt like, I'm not being celibate, but I'll go years now without doing anything and be perfectly fine with it. Just because, like, you know, it's it's a beautiful thing when it happens, but like it doesn't need to happen. Hey, we got a super chat in the building, super chat squad. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is love, the Oracle of Whimsy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's the number one fan. I appreciate that. Thank you, super chat squad. Felt good to say that. Hadn't hadn't said that in a while. Thank you so much, Oracle. I appreciate that love. Thank you so much. Super chat squad in the building. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We here. Thank you, Oracle. Isaac, you think about selling everything, going to Asia to start over? Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people doing that. A lot of people doing that. Yeah, Wonder Hike, they say home is where your heart is. I think when I find a home base, I'll know what they mean by that. Life. I would like you said if I considered a homestead. If I met a woman and she wanted to have a homestead, I would love to do that. I ain't trying to do it by myself. So me having a homestead would be like a partnered up thing. I don't think I would want to do it by myself. Nah. Secret wants to be where your family is. Nothing wrong with that. Ty, I knew that was you. As soon as I saw not getting married or having kids. Hey, respect. Moment, what up? Hey. Glad we could be a perfect birthday gift to you. I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain. Start, to getting excited. I told the job that I would work out July and train my replacement. So now that July's hit, I'm starting to see the light at the end of the work tunnel. So I'm getting excited about that. We still have about 17 working days left. But yeah, no, we're just gonna take it a day at a time, and we're gonna get done with it and keep our word, and then get up out of there, get back on this road. Hey, Miss Priya, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Super Chat Squad. Appreciate that love. Thank you. So it says society acts like bad job market keeps us hostage. I've said this many times. I totally agree with you. Um, I think the reason they talk so much about a bad job market is control. Think about it. The job market is what it is, right? What good comes from telling people there's a bad job market? If the job market's that bad, people gonna know, right? This is what you have to think about the news. What good comes from them telling that story? Any story you hear on the news, but especially one that they preach and push, what good comes from it? It's not like if they're like, hey, there's a tornado coming. We got to tell everybody. What good comes from them constantly talking about there being a bad job market? If it's a bad job market, people gonna know. If nobody's hiring around you, you're gonna know. So why do they constantly preach it? It's control. They trying to keep you at the job you're at. They're trying to keep you in fear. You gotta think about this stuff. But yeah, and a lot of people do stay hostage because of a bad job market. But like I'm always saying, you don't need a good job market. You just need a good job. Do me a favor. Google how many open jobs there are in America. Ask ChatGPT. That's all I ask. Yeah, yeah. Gee, I've actually been working two different jobs, but I've been working since last May. So it beginning of last year, I'd been traveling for a while, and I just was ready to be in one place for a while. So I worked all last summer into the fall, and then I was about to go traveling again, and then a good friend of mine presented me with this opportunity, and you know, it had some serious pros to it. So I went with that, and I've been doing that since November, I think. But yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time to move on. And that's the beauty of life is that you don't always have to like, especially on the internet. It's easy to get pigeonholed into like this is who I am and this is what I do. But in life, you can go through different chapters. You can go through different seasons. And we was going through the working season, and now we're going back through the travel season. Yeah, Delano, save your money so you have options, and yeah, you can work for a while, then quit and do something different, or you can quit and chill for a while, then go get another job. It's entirely up to you. What up, John? Good to see you. My nervous system must be enjoying the lifestyle. What do you mean? Thank you, Marcelo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep creating, please. YouTube ain't dead. Starfish, I do not want to get married. No. I do not have anything against finding a mate or finding a partner and us being together as long as we feel like being together, as long as it's working. But I don't see the point in signing a marriage certificate. I don't see the point in bringing the courthouse and the county into our relationship. And I understand everyone doesn't see it that way. To some people, marriage is very important, and I respect that. Um, it's just not something that I see the need to do. So, and people are very fond of telling me, "Oh, when you meet the right woman, you'll marry her." People are good at putting their stuff on you. People are very good at putting their behavior on you. Just because you met the right man or right woman and they talked you into marrying them doesn't mean Tim will. And I'm not saying that was wrong for you to do. I'm just saying like I'm good. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. Connecticut or Ellicott City, Maryland will be perfect for my personality type. Interesting. Okay. Goddess, what up? Yeah, Xtina, we here. My role model as far as my lifestyle is concerned, excuse me. I have a internet travel investment guru. His name is Christopher. His YouTube channel is Retire and Go, and that is someone who's a big inspiration to me. I don't think I would have went to Thailand 3 times and done all the things I did there if it wasn't for his channel. And there's some other countries I want to go to that I'm watching his channel and getting research, getting notes. And my investment portfolio definitely would not look the way it looks without his channel. So that is someone that I consider a role model. We've never met. I hope our paths cross one day. But that's somebody that, like, yeah, I look at and is a good example of the lifestyle I want to live. Retire and Go. Type that into YouTube. Great channel. Very consistent with the uploads too. Sure, Polo, I'll answer a random question. And you're welcome, Goddess. Loretta, you quit one job, so now you're down to 2 full-time jobs? Okay. How much do I spend on housing between jobs? Opt out. I said this time around I'm gonna maybe try to be a little more transparent about that. My goal when I'm looking for an Airbnb is around 1,200 a month. And a few years back that was very doable. Now Airbnb done got a little more pricey. Um, if I can get under 15 a month for housing, I'm happy. But my goal is like 12. And they're still, you know, There's still cities I like to go to. You can in Denver find a decent place for $1,200, $1,300 an Airbnb. Portland, you can find Airbnb $1,200, $1,300. Um, those are ones that go pretty quickly. So you got to kind of look maybe a little further than in advance than other cities. But yeah, that's kind of my goal is 1,200, 1,250 a month. If I find an Airbnb for 1,200 a month and it's a decent Airbnb, I'm very happy. But if I find a good one for 15, I'm happy. No problem, Loretta. What do I think of joining a conservative religious group? It worked great for me as I recently joined a conservative midnight group and it gave me so much stability in this crazy United States. Hakeem, I'm glad that worked out for you. I don't think that'll be my path. I don't join religious groups. I'm just not a, I don't think organized religion is the route for me. So I'm glad that's working out for you. I just don't think it's for me. Yeah. Deciduous, what up? The way I stay positive in these dark times is I don't feed into the negativity. I spend most of my time consuming positive content and doing things I love. I don't watch the news. You know, um, a lot of the darkness that other people talk about is the same darkness that's been here forever. It just gets reported on more, and we see it more in our social media feeds. I try to just focus on the good. Like, up here living in Montana, it's a beautiful state. I get to go out. Y'all see, I get to be out in nature, you know, all the time. Not to say my life is perfect, and not to say aren't bad things that happen to me or people I care about, but like, I just don't focus on any of the darkness that I have, unless like that I don't have to focus on. And I think that's like I would never describe these as dark times. It is what it is. And most of the content I watch is people enjoying themselves and people living their lives. And when bad things happen, overcoming them. So I see the world. We're going through some interesting times because there's some technological advancements we've never seen and some other things going on. But most of the other stuff has been going on since time immemorial. Most of the stuff is human stuff, and humans been doing the same stuff since there's been humans, right? So the idea that these times are worse than any other time in history is crazy. They want you to think that because they want you scared. Because when you're overwhelmed, you don't make the best life decisions. That's when people turn to their vices. That's when, like, when you see the world as beautiful and wonderful, you're more likely to get out there and get to it, right? And go after the things that like you care about in this life. When you just see it all as hopeless or pointless and everybody's bad and all, you're not gonna do anything. And so that's the agenda. The agenda is to have everybody down and everybody focusing on the darkness, and then you can control everybody, and you know what everybody's gonna do, and then like you win. When I say you, I mean like the people at the top who control this stuff. I just, like I said, I have moments where I might get a little down, but like I spend very little time focusing on the negative stuff in the world. Like, why would I? Like, it's not gonna make it go away. Why not focus on like I can influence the positive stuff. Like I can make more positive stuff happen. A lot harder to make the negative go away. So I'm focusing on what I can do. And like, yeah, it's a beautiful life. Victory. It probably would be a too long an answer if I was to give recommendations on things to carry when traveling. Maybe I'll do a video about it. Maybe. Yeah. Gat Nation, what up? Mr. Memento, yeah, retiring go very uplifting dude. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, those are the type of content creators I like to follow. that are uplifting and doing positive things and, just enjoying life. Yeah, that works out a lot better for me as opposed to like, watching the news and other negative stuff. Lee, hey, if there's a manager there that wants to hang out in a serious way, like you find that person attractive, hey, here would be my advice. And I'm saying this because I have to tell myself this all the time. Just hang out. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of times we get ahead of ourselves. Oh, I'm gonna go hang out and this. Nah, just go have, just go hang out. And at any time during the hangout process, if you get uncomfortable, you can go back to your room. You know what I mean? But like it's gonna do what it's gonna do, right? All you have to do is just show up. Just be yourself. Don't try to be funny because you're not. Um, you know what I mean? Just show up and whatever. It's going, you just bring the ingredients and the gumbo gonna do what it do. You know what I mean? You just put the ingredients in the crock pot and it's gonna cook itself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would just not overthink it. If it's something you want to do, just hey, set up a date. Hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. Let's go on a hike. Or whatever y'all like to do, and just if nothing comes of it, cool. If something comes of it, cool. Like you know, um, yeah, I know me. I always overthink it, and I get just show up, just have fun. Yeah, price for the month. You still don't want them kids? Nah, I'm good on the kids. Taking a leap of faith and hope without a complete plan, a good idea. Miss Priya, I think it is. For me, it is. Now, once again, I always have to say like that's just me. So I've always been that way. Um, do I do some planning? Yes, but like I set my whole life up knowing that eventually I'm just gonna take a leap of faith. So like that's my whole like even as I've been working this past year, like I've been saving. I've been invest like my whole mindset is like eventually one of these days, Tim, you gonna jump back out there. So like that's my whole like kind of mindset. So for me, like that's what feels right. That's what works for me. Like I work best in that space. Okay. I work best in the like, let's figure this thing out in real time space. Other people may not be who they are. So I think you have to kind of do some self-reflecting and figure out is that the way you operate? But for me, yeah, I'm all about just take the leap and go. We'll figure it out. Like it gives me something to do. I don't have a family, I don't have kids. Like it gives me something to do. When I'm on the road and I'm having to figure out where I'm gonna be month to month, and eventually sometimes it gets exhausting and I want to settle down for a little bit. Like I'm not opposed to finding a home base. I'm gonna find a home base surrounded by nature in a beautiful location that I can easily afford, close to everything I need to live an amazing life. So like I'm not opposed to like having a home base, but like even within that, I know I'll be doing stuff. So I think if you're that type of person that taking leaps of faith works for you, you I think it works. I think every now and then, all of us have to take one if we want to get anywhere in life. Some of us, I think, just take more than others. But even if you just take that one big one, I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think we've lost some of what all of our ancestors had. You know, I think all of our ancestors weren't near as comfortable as we are, and they had to just like to better their life, they had to do some crazy stuff. We've gotten very comfortable. And so like the idea of doing something crazy and just taking a leap seems very fearful. But like our ancestors, they was doing that all the time. You know what I mean? And that's how they did all the amazing things that humanity has done in the past with all the technology we have now. Um, so I encourage everyone to look into taking some leaps of faith. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a plan, but like sometimes, and I did a short about this today, but I deleted it because there was a lot of wind noise. But like a lot of times we want the whole path to reveal itself. We want the full plan. We want the full blueprint. Sometimes you just have a couple steps. You can just see the beginning of the path. You just got, one piece of the blueprint. And sometimes you have to start the journey to figure out the rest of the journey. Like that's how life is. Life is a journey. So a lot of times we have the idea like, oh, if I don't know the entire plan, I don't have a plan. It's like, no, you got a plan. It's a very basic plan. But until you start the basic plan, you can't get to the elaborate part of it because you don't, you know what I mean? Like until you build the foundation of the house, you can't build the walls. Right? You know what I mean? Right? Until you get that foundation in place and it's set and good, then you can really start building the walls. You might have kind of a plan of how you want the walls to look, but like until you get that foundation down, you can't start building the walls. And a lot of times in life, like we see like the foundation and we could take those steps, but we're like, but I don't know what's up with the walls, so I'm not gonna do nothing. It's like, well, you know. So yeah, I'm all for it, but I don't know if it's for everyone all the time. But I think we do have to take some leaps of faith in life on occasion. Hey, Ramp, congratulations, turning 30, moving in your van. Let's go. Glad we could give you some inspiration. Miami in the building. Jose, glad to hear June was a great month. July is going to be great as well. Awesome, awesome. You've been having some great months for about 2 years now. Let's go. Kashif, I wouldn't say I found community. I would say the place I worked in the summer, one of my really good friends lived there, and where I'm at now, one of my really good friends lives here, and I actually work with her. So I found community in that sense. I wouldn't say overall I found community, but I've been blessed to have one or two people close by that I could hang out with or talk to. And for an old nomad like me, that's a lot. So, but I wouldn't say I've found community yet, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm looking for like community. We gonna get there. That's on my list too for home base. Have to have community there. Thank y'all for hitting the like button. I appreciate that. Happy Thursday, eternally. No, I'm not in a closet. I'm actually I'm at a co-working space. You can see behind me. And I'm kind of this is the booth where you go to like make phone calls when everybody's here, but nobody's here. So I could sit out there. But I like it better in here. It's cozier in here. So technically it is a phone booth, I guess. Hey, Max, you're welcome. You're welcome. Glad you're enjoying the shorts. Dean, I think most people feel like they're surviving rather than living. And, I understand people with responsibilities may have to continue kind of living a certain life because that's the life that currently allows them to take care of those responsibilities. But I'm like, if you have the opportunity, like someone like myself, part of the reason I be, quitting these jobs and going out and doing the things I do is because I'm like, when it gets to a point where I feel like I'm trapped or I'm not living, what do I have to lose? Right? I mean, there's things to lose, but it's just like, if I'm alive, I need to feel like I'm living. Excuse me. If not, well, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Even if things get messed up and I have to dig myself out of a hole, well, at least it's an adventure. It's something to do, right? I'm not gonna live. I'm trying to live to be like in my 90s. So like, I'm not gonna live another 40 some years, like surviving. Like, what would be the point? I firmly believe, this is my opinion, that I am a timeless, ageless energy being that is currently just experiencing what it's like to be a human. Like I asked to come to Earth and experience what it's like to be a human. I don't want that experience to be just like wage slavery. This is like a vacation, a cosmic vacation. I'm gonna go to Earth, I'm experiencing what it's like to be a human. I'm not gonna spend that time, all of it, doing things I don't want to do. Why? No. Some of it maybe, but all of it, no. Like I'm gonna enjoy this thing. I'm gonna get new experiences. Like even if the route I take sometimes leads to harder experiences, well, that's part of the journey. That's part of the trip. That's part of the vacation. But I'm not gonna spend my life just like survive, bro. Like what, huh? If every day I'm miserable, why am I doing this? And I promised my parents years ago, When I went through a little phase where I was trying to get up out of here, that I would never do that. So like that route is out. So like if I have to be here until the universe decides it's time for me to go somewhere else, if I have to be here, well, I'm gonna do things that I want to do as much as I can. I'm gonna do what I love with who I love as much as I can. And I firmly believe that like it's gonna work out. It's okay. That's what I've seen. You know, the more I believe that and the more I live like this, the more it works out. It's funny. The times when I start to doubt and I'm like, oh, things get all weird. But the times when I just throw caution to the wind and just do what I want to do, it always works out. So that's why I firmly believe like that's the way it's supposed to be. That's how it works. That's how the universe works. You know, whatever put us here, whatever you believe put us here, did not put us here for us to like suffer and hate it and just barely scrape by. If that was the case, then that would be the only option. The fact that there is the option for love and laughter and beauty and all this other stuff, and that we enjoy all that stuff, lets me know that's what we're supposed to do. I don't think it's some kind of sick joke of like, oh, we'll put humans on this beautiful planet and give them all this stuff we love, and then make it so they have to suffer and have to barely scrape by. I don't believe that. I don't buy that. Other humans want you to believe that. Other humans want you to think that because then they can benefit and profit and monetize your suffering and profit from your suffering, and you're just scraping by. But I'm like, I'm not trying to play that game, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Now, and if the road is harder because you know some of the choices I make, well, it'll just be hard till it's not. You know, where am I at? I'm in Montana. Timothy C. Ward. That's not me. My book will be by Timothy J. Ward. Hey, Missy, that's awesome. I love telling everybody about Cool Works. You trying to buy a house for cash in Maine, Akeem? Let's go. Let's do it. Speak it. Speak it. Yeah. That dope. That's a good. Furnish Finders is a good recommendation, and Pad Split. I haven't had success with either one, but I've talked to people who have. But yeah, Furnish Finders, Pad Split. Yeah, there are other options as well. Yeah, midnight. I'm trying to get to the UK. It's just a matter of making it work. Oh, right. It's not personal. Me and my mom don't really talk like that. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and then I parted ways with that organization, and she's still in that organization. So because of that, she doesn't really speak to me or have a relationship with me, which is her right. So yeah, I feel very blessed that uh, God gave me a father that does not believe like that, and wants to be in his son's life. So that's why you hear me speak so highly of my dad, because that's the parent I have that looks out for me and has always. And my mom, don't get me wrong, my mom was an amazing mother. When I was a child, I have nothing bad to say. If I had to come back again, I'd pick them as parents again. You know what I mean? It's just as when I got older and made my decision, she made hers. So but I'm eternally grateful for my upbringing and that I still have my dad in my life. Hey, we got Super Chat Squad in the building. TF Soul, thank you, Super Chat Squad. I appreciate that. Let me see. It'll let me give you a like on that. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, TF Soul. I appreciate the support. Going right to the Freedom Fund. Let's go. And we're at 99 likes. Ooh, one more will be a hundo. Opt. I had my teeth cleaned in Thailand, and it was not the experience I thought it would be. That's what I get for going. I should have went. I was in Thailand when I was in Pattaya. I should have went there. I ended up going to Bangkok, and I went to like a snooty, highfalutin dentist. and I don't think they was really rocking with your boy like that. Um, so I don't have any recommendations, but I will later. Give me some time, and I will. You know. Yeah, Victor, our peoples did way more riskier stuff. I don't know how many states I've been to because I don't keep track, so I don't remember. I'm thinking about starting a new list, like starting over and just like visiting all 50 states. Moose, what up? Thank you, Tim. Tim Scott. That actually is on my list of things to do in life. I would love to be a motivational speaker, so we got to make that happen. Thank you, Shiva. Wishing you a great summer 2026 as well. Thank you. And thank you, TF Soul. Appreciate you too. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, Lady E. I firmly stand on that. I'm a timeless, ageless energy being. You know, I'm just experiencing. Like I'm not like this whole Timothy Ward and this body is just. You need a body to be a human. And Timothy Ward is a persona. Like you need an identity to be a human. And I love this body. It's been great to me. I love this identity, but like it's not me. You know, when this life is over, this body will go back to the soil, and this identity won't be needed anymore. And I imagine I will take stuff with me from this trip, just like when you go on vacation, you bring the memories back with you. But like, I don't think when I go to my next existence, I'm gonna still see myself as Timothy Ward. Like that was my earthly avatar, you know. So that's why looking at life like that allows me to not be so wrapped up in like what Timothy Ward's doing, because like that's just who I am now. Like now, I feel like it's very important for Timothy Ward to be a good person because that reflects on me. Every existence, every life, I want to try to be the best being possible because that adds to the overall me. You know what I mean? Um, so I want Timothy Ward to be a good person because that's the identity that I'm currently in. But if Timothy Ward is successful or not, you know what I mean? Like as long as I keep my word and I be a decent person and I look out for other human beings and the planet and things of that nature, I think I've done what I came here to do. I'm not so worried about accolades and promotions and you know what I mean? Like I don't no one you know what I mean? When I'm sitting around with the other timeless, ageless energy beings, they not gonna you know what I mean? What job did you have on Earth? Like you know what I mean? But that's just me. That's just my belief. Angela made it home. Okay. Jennifer, what up? What up? What up? Jennifer, T Snacks. One of these days, me and Travel Snacks are gonna do a video together again. One of these days. One of these days, we gonna hopefully we'll be in the same area and we can do like a joint live stream again. One of these days. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Travel Snacks, one of my best friends on this planet. Love her to death. So yeah, one of these days, me and her gonna collab again. Yeah, Victory, you got it. I mean, some people choose stability, some people choose adventure. I think it comes down to who you are. Hey, Eric, once again, we all get this programming and we all get these lies. You know what I mean? Different people, different lies. Basically, they're trying to hold everybody down. Yeah, everybody gets it. You know what I mean? I do feel like depending on where you live and certain things, certain groups, might get a little harder because if you're outside the norm, whatever that means, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing once you realize this and you're like, I don't have to believe what y'all are telling me. You can't tell me my lifestyle is wrong if I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't understand why people get so worked up about other people's lifestyles and feel the need to look down on them or tell them that it's wrong when it's not bothering nobody. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not messing with you, like Funny Marco said this. He was doing some type of interview or video, and he was saying like he feels like everybody's in like different rooms, and he was like, why am I gonna come in your room and tell you you're wrong? You know what I mean? He's like, why can't I just stay in my room and like why do other people feel the need if I'm living a lifestyle that does not affect them at all, to come over to where I'm at and tell me there's something wrong with it. But like once you realize like how absurd it is, it's easier to stop letting that hold us back. Because you're like, bro, like I'm not bothering no like these people have the problem. These other people have the problem. These people who come at me constantly on the internet for whatever, I have to like they have the problem. That's why a lot of times like when people come at me, I try to like sometimes I just delete it. Other times I try to like say something positive. Like, hey, I'm envisioning a day, my friend, when like your life is full of love, laughter, and happiness, and you no longer feel the need to say negative stuff to people on the internet. And I want that. I mean that. Because it's less about like whatever weird thing they said to me and more about like something's obviously going on with them that they feel the need to like come at me. And that's it, anything you have in life that like if it's not wrong and people are bothering you about it or hating on you about it, the problem lies with them. So I want them to work through whatever they're working through. And I mean, hey, sometimes we have to turn the mirror on ourselves. There's sometimes I'll look at other people and say something and I'm like, wait a second, Tim, why are you judging this person when they not bothering you at all? Something's wrong with you. What do you need to work out? You know what I mean? So like we've all been programmed to do it. Some people fall for the programming way more than others. But yeah, once you just realize like we don't have to believe what other people believe, it gets easier. It still ain't always easy, but it gets easier. Hey, try House City. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I've heard good things about it, Victor. Uh, Arbor, if you're struggling to get a job and you don't really have an interest in the idea of a career, the struggle to get a job part, it's hard to weigh in on because like a lot of that is dependent on where you're at and how the job market is where you're at. Or it can be dependent on many different things that I don't have access to the information on. Um, I would just say keep trying. Though I will say if there's a party who says I like you have no interest in having a career, like you're working at cross purposes. Understandably. You don't really want a job, but you need a job. So the more like as you're looking for a job, you're like, I don't even want this job. So there I could see there being an issue there. Just realizing that like, hey, I don't want a job or a career or any of the jobs or careers I see other people telling me to do. But maybe, I'm 19, I need to get some funds coming in. Let me just find a job to get some money coming in to kind of like solve that problem, and then we can figure out what we're trying to do. Like, there's no rush. You're 19, there's no rush. If you don't want to have a career, don't have one. You can say that. I'm not going to have a career. But that doesn't mean I can't find me a little job now just to get some coins coming in. I'm a big believer like speaking things out. Okay, I know I don't want a job, but I do want a little cash on me. So I'm gonna find a job and I'm gonna work that. But while I'm doing it, I'm gonna be trying to figure out like what I want to do long term. But there's no rush because I'm only 19, and that would be kind of my mantra when I get up in the morning. I'm looking for jobs. I know I don't want a career. I'm not interested in all that. Right now, I'm just going to find a job to bring some coins in, alleviate some of the pressure, and then over time, we'll figure out what we want to do. But there's no rush and no pressure because I'm only 19. I don't have to have this figured out anytime soon because I'm only 19. You know, society tries to tell you you need to have it all figured out at 19. That's not true. Callie in the building. What up? Adventure, how you doing? JK, I mean, I can't speak on all Bangkok dentists, but the one I went to, because I specifically went to like a really nice one, though it was still inexpensive. But I just don't think, and I don't think it was anything racial or nothing like that. I just don't think they were used to like the backpacker, you know, solo traveler clientele. So, you know, they were used to more of a more upscale clientele, I think. And I think they just sent me to the new girl. Right? That was the vibe I got. And I think I could have went to a dentist that would have been a lot better for probably cheaper, who was used to clientele like me. Hey, Brian, that's awesome. Construct your own identity. Let's go. Only took 10 years. Hey, you still young. You're only 37. What are three things you like about living in Montana? The nature is amazing. The people here are very friendly. Um, and the summers are awesome. Yeah, the summers are awesome. Thanks, lady. Blessed with the earthly body. Okay, okay. Yeah, you know, and Chris, I understand different people have different beliefs about like what happens after this one. That's just my belief. You know, I mean, maybe I have another existence and you don't. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like it's a big universe with a lot going on. The idea that like everybody has the same, even you know, like next thing is crazy. You know, some people. What if whatever we believe is what happens? That's a possibility. I'm like the people who think they're going to die and go to heaven. Maybe they do. The people who think they're going to die and go to hell. Maybe they do. That one's a bit of a stretch. But you know, I don't know. Like I don't deem to think my idea of what is going to happen when I die or what's going on with me is for everybody. We might be different beings. You might actually be a human, and this is the only life you got. I'm a timeless, ageless energy being. I just wanted to come and see what it was like to be a human on this beautiful planet called Earth. They said they thought these things called mountains and lakes and rivers and snow and sex. I said, sign me up. Sounds good. Sign me up for the 90-year package. Let's go. But you might actually be a human. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, we all can believe what we want to believe, and we all can be different. You know, once you start to, I've started kind of to let go of like, there's only one right thing. Believe what you want. You know me. Seen it, yeah, man. We met in 2022. Nice. It's always amazing. It's always awesome to meet people. I should get some merch to sell that says, you know what I mean? God is good. Let's go, comedy. Glad to hear that, by the way. No, I'm not sitting on the toilet. I didn't know anybody scaled the top of the Empire State Building. I don't get the same news everybody else get. Yeah, I worked a winter seasonal job, Edward. Yeah, honestly, I think I've worked more fall and winter seasonal jobs than summer. Yeah, mainly worked at ski resorts in the winter. DCA, I have debt now because I just financed a car. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll finance it instead of paying cash for it. So, and I think I overpaid for it, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I have car debt. That's it though. I have a credit card too, but I literally paid that off today, which I do that a lot. Like I don't. My balance gets to about $200-300. I start sweating. So it was a little higher today. I checked my credit card statement. It was $741. I said, "Oh heck no!" I paid it off right then. I was on a hiking trail today because I was gonna try to do a video, but there was people in the spot I wanted to film in, and I was like, I need to check my credit card because this co-working space I'm at, they took out their monthly payment. It's $240 a month for just like access. Like you don't have a set desk or set office, but you just have access. Um, and so they took out the $240 the other day. So I was like, yeah, I said, let me check my balance. I've been using my credit card a lot, and it was $741 because I'd done some other big purchases and things, um, or like certain bills and other stuff like I put on there. I was like, oh heck no, right there on the trail. I said, pay it full amount. Let's go. I'm not doing this. Um, so yeah, I use my credit card so I can run up the bill and then pay it all off every so often because it looks good to the credit card company to use it a lot and to pay the whole thing off. And I'm trying to build my credit, but that was too high. I'm like $741. Oh heck no, pay that right off. Then I said, well, I better check my bank account, see if I got 700. I'm joking. I checked my bank account first, but yeah, I said, dang. But yeah, the only real debt I have is my car. So hey, Carolyn, that is awesome. Cross the 200 watch hours thing. Let's go. Oh, I get it. I get it. I understand that. That's amazing. That is amazing. Keep going. Keep going. Get them thousand. Let's go. Sheep Prepper, glad you like the channel. A lot of 19-year-olds. We're appealing to a younger demographic, which is good. Get them young. Yeah, no, I think y'all's age group honestly has like the most pressure on y'all. And I just think it's good to have channels like this or other people who talk about these topics. Truth, people who aren't trying to influence you for their own profit, but people who just want to see you living an amazing life. So, welcome. Recommendations of places to stop out west when taking Amtrak? Portland, Seattle. Too good. Good. Don't be scared what people say about Portland. Yes, it's true what they say, but Portland's cool. And Seattle's awesome too. Comedy, I haven't had pest problems like that. Once again, I mentioned this earlier. I don't always go for the cheapest place. But I try to find a good deal, but I don't always go for the cheapest place because of stuff like that. I haven't had any problems with that. But yeah, like when I stay at Airbnb, I go through all the reviews. If it has less than like 4.8 out of 5, I'm probably not gonna stay there. Maybe if it has like a 4.7, if one person went in 2 years ago and did a crazy review and it brought the review down. Anything less like a 4.8, I'm not trying to stay there. At a hotel, if it's got less than like an 8, because I use Booking, if it's got less than an 8 out of 10, I'm not really trying to stay there. You know? So honestly, for me, it's more about finding a good place than the price. So I try to find that good balance, but I'll pay a little more for like a good place that I know I don't have to worry about that type of stuff. So that's why, like, you don't hear me ever say like I'm cheap or I'm frugal anymore, unless it's a slip up for that reason. Because I feel like, and if you are cheap or frugal, that's fine. But for me, like, I don't want to give off the impression that it's always about the cheapest price. And nah, like I want to enjoy this life. So nah, I haven't run into much of any of that thus far, and I think it is because I'm very picky about where I stay. Now, back when I first started traveling, I'd be in all kind of dumps and dives, but not anymore. You know, I have hiked in Grand Canyon National Park. Tommy, I worked there one fall. So yeah, yeah, blessed to spent a couple months in the Grand Canyon. Awesome place. Best minimalism tip I got. I don't even know if I have any minimalism tips. I think minimalism is pretty easy. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, I think if you're motivated to be a minimalist, like you'll figure it out. It's not like calculus, or like maybe somebody got, hey, show you how to do. Like if you're motivated, like if the idea of minimalism appeals to you, like you'll figure it out. you'll figure out how to minimalize the way you want to minimalize. So I don't really know if I have any tips or tricks about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, unless there's like a specific question. Yeah, dope. Pay them credit cards off. Hey, thank you, Kevin. I've been enjoying doing the short, so thank you for that feedback. I'm embarrassed. Stay safe. Thank you, June. I'm reacting like that because everybody's always warning. Everybody's always. This is what I'm telling you. The media has done a smear job on bears. You think they've done a smear job on black folk? They have done a smear job on bears. Everybody is scared of bears. Y'all seen me. I've been hiking all over this country. I take y'all with me, all over the country, all different places. I've seen like 3 bears, bro, and they were in the distance, or I was in the car. That's why it's funny to me, because someone always gonna be like, "Bro, I'm more likely to get struck by lightning probably than to see a bear up close." But I appreciate the concern. Australia in the building. What up? Hey, glad to hear that, Leah. Glad to hear that. What do they say about Portland? Oh, I mean, Portland. The probably the biggest thing people will mention is like the homeless situation, and like crime has gone up. A lot of property crime, stuff like that. And trust me, that it's there. I go to Portland probably 2 3 times a year, or I used to. And yeah, you go downtown Portland, head on a swivel. But you get a little further out, and Portland's amazing. So I'll probably be back this year. Oh, somebody's actually came in. There's usually like nobody here. So the fact that there's somebody here is at the co-working space. Oh, they scaled the Empire State Building dressed as Batman and Catwoman, and they proposed. Oh, nice, nice. I don't see a ton of people, a ton of wildlife on the trails. Um, Honestly, like here in Montana, most of the trails I hike are pretty. I'm saying there's not a ton of people on them, but like they're pretty like known trails. And so like I mean, I see deer, stuff like that. But as far as like any wildlife you'd be nervous about, it's been my experience they don't really frequent the trails that like humans frequent a lot because they ain't trying to be bothered with us. Um, so yeah, I don't see a ton of wildlife on the trails I hike in Montana, but I don't. I mean, there's tons of less populated trails I just haven't been on. But the trails I've been hiking, I don't really see a ton of wildlife. I mean, I see like birds and deer and stuff like that, but like nothing crazy. Portland's for lovers, and James, I typically go for Airbnb, but also I'll do hotels. Like if I find a good deal on a hotel, you know. But yeah, typically my go-to is Airbnbs just because, it's just easier, more options. Like with hotels, you might have more overall option, but like with option with pricing. Like hotels is typically going to be around kind of the same. You know what I mean? But with Airbnb, pricing doesn't always. It's not competitive, right? Like I've had Airbnb hosts who are just like, I just like to offer, a cheap place for people traveling. I just like to offer a cheap place for people traveling, because I like to talk to people. They're not worried about the price. With hotels, it's a business where like they try, so a lot of times I can get a better price with Airbnbs. F Doctor, I'm currently in an Airbnb. Jose, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad says, Tim, treat yourself to something. I will. I will pass the learning behavior specialist exam to be certified in special education. Let's go. If not, you'll try again. And you're going to. Here's my only advice, Jose. Don't even add that last sentence, right? Because you're opening the door to not passing, right? You're giving. We're speaking this out into the universe, and also like to ourselves. When you add the last sentence and say, "If not, I will try again," you're putting the option of not passing. You know what I mean? We don't even want to give that option. You're going to pass it. So there's no need to say, if not, no, like I'm going to pass it. Now, even if it takes you 3 times to pass it, I think it's still better to just say, I'm going to do this. We don't even need to speak into existence if it fails what I'm going to do. I think it's just best to say, hey, I'm going to pass it. Or I'm going to find a home base, or I'm going to, you know what I mean? It seems a simple thing, but like, just, just even notice the energy. It's positive, like, oh, I'm gonna try again, but like, still there's that, like, but anyway. But yeah, thank you, Super Chat Squad. Thank you. It's going right in the Freedom Fund. Thank you. Yeah, I was happy with that, how that short turned out. Some of the comments were pretty funny. Yeah. City guy's a lot taller than you thought. Everybody says that. Everybody says that. Justice for bears. Um, yeah, mountain lions are scary. Yeah. Would I consider biking up the trails with a GoPro? I wouldn't range just because like I don't bike up the trails, and honestly, that's not really. If I was to do that, that video would not do well on my channel. So you know, people don't come to this channel for that. So like, it would kind of be a waste of time for me. You know. I'm currently reading Tommy. Happy Pocket Full of Money. Yeah. Yeah, dope. You can travel anywhere. You live in Philly. Let's go. Enter. Good question. Says, how do you get rid of sentimental items? Do you recommend keeping them or just very few out of many? First and foremost, I want to say I don't have any recommendations for what anyone does with their sentimental items, right? Because there's no rules to minimalism. Um, so do whatever feels right for you. However, I can tell you what I did. Um, I realized that the sentiment wasn't with the item, it was with typically the person that gave me the item, right? Let's say you got your grandmother's old radio, right? And grandda passed on. The sentiment is the relationship is tied to the relationship and the love you had for your grandmother. This is just the radio is just a physical representation of that. So, when you're maybe trying to like downsize to travel or move into a smaller place, you might not have room for Gam Gam's radio. But it's hard to get rid of because it reminds you of the love you had. And I had items like that in my life that like was from friends or close people that are very close to me, or just things I've done in my life, certain memories. But I realized like nothing can take that memory from me. Nothing can dissolve that relationship me and that person have, other than me and that person. So what I did is I took pictures of the stuff. And honestly, some stuff I didn't get rid of in wave one. I downsized in many different waves. Some stuff, it was 2 months into my downsizing journey before I got rid of it. But what I finally did was I took pictures of this stuff, and I was like, hey, if I ever need to be reminded of this, I can just go look at the picture. And I did things like praying and be like, hey, let this person know that like if I get rid of this, it's not anything against them. Like I just honestly don't have room for it. And I thought about too, if somebody like really cares about you, really loves you, and you have an item that they gave you or something like that, if they're still living, you can call them and tell them, hey, remember that big teddy bear you got me that one time we went to the fair and we had a great time when we were 17? I'm doing some downsizing and I'm gonna have to get rid of that. But I just wanted you to know, like, I will always remember that day and it's super special to me. I just don't have room for it anymore. And if somebody really care about you, they're gonna be like, get rid of them. First off, they're probably gonna be like, what bear are you talking about? You know what I mean? But secondly, they're probably gonna be like, okay, that's fine. You know? Yeah, I got rid of my old comic books totally. Um, so yeah, that was what I did. Was just like I kind of held on to it as long as I needed to, and then I like took pictures of it, and then I threw it away. And not saying it was easy still. And a lot of that stuff I threw away so I couldn't go back and get it, right? But it's just like, hey, I had to let it go. Here's the thing though, like there's a couple of the things I can remember, but like in most of it I don't off the top of my head remember. Like I might be thinking about something and I'll be like, oh yeah, she did give me that, But no relationships in my life have changed because I became a minimalist and I got rid of stuff. The sentiment is still there. The love is still there. I don't need the item. And once I remember that, it got a lot easier to get rid of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've been to Kansas before. Yes. Yes. I don't really remember. Um, but I know I've been through Kansas before. Carolyn, I think the gum wall is literally the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, anytime I'm in Seattle and I go to Pikes Market, I avoid the gum wall like the plague. I think it's the most disgusting thing ever. I don't know anything about kayaking comedy. Sorry. F Doctor, I try to buy reliable vehicles. Like the car I got now. How old is it? I think it's a 2012. But it had low miles, two owners, one person had owned the car for like 9 of those years. So I do my research. I try to find reliable cars. Because I'm no matter brand new or used, I'm not trying to be doing a lot of repairs. But yeah, I just try to find reliable older cars and repair them as needed. Yeah, Lars, that time that actually it was a elk met me on the road. I was a little nervous that time. I had walked in. I was in Estes Park, Colorado, working at the Y. I walked into town. I walked into Estes Park. It was about an hour walk. I got me some chicken wings from Lonigan's. My Lonigan's chicken wings. As time passes, they're not as good, but they still a vibe. Shout out to Lonigan's. I was walking back, um, and there was a elk coming across, male elk, huge horns. Um, there was one on the I was on the left side of the road, um, and there was one down in the cut, and then I looked to the right side of the road, and there was one like about to cross the road. So like traffic stopped, right? Because you got to stop to like the elk cross the road. Not to mention this elk was so big, if it hit your car, well, you just need a new car. Um, so where traffic is stopped both ways, and I'm standing there. The longer I stand there, the colder my chicken wings are getting. Okay. Um, and so we're all just standing like it's like a Western standoff. Like the cars are there, I'm here, the elk's over there, and like nobody's moving. And so like the elk kind of like walks up a little bit to the edge of the road and he stops again. So I'm like, bruh, you know what I mean? I'm like, go. Like I'm getting aggravated. I'm like, go. And when I move my when I move my head like that, he looked at me. Cause I think maybe like that's a sign of like aggression, the head moving and you know what I mean? So I just been standing there, he paid me no attention. But as soon as I was like, go, he looked over at me and gave me that, and I was like, uh-oh. Cause like he could have easily. I mean, I was just on the other side of the street. It's a 2-lane road. Like he could and if you rushed me, the only place I had to go down the hill, and there was another elk down there. And I'm like, he gonna try to run at me and rush me down the hill, and him and his boys gonna double team me down there. I'm not doing. You know what I mean? So I was like, uh oh. Like I froze. I was like I was like, uh oh. And I just kind of like backed up a couple steps and kind of just like went in a submissive. I put my head down, and he just kind of like looked around and asserted dominance, and then he just walked across the street and walked down and kept going. And I was like, whew. And like everybody saw this happen, all the cars. And there was one car, it was like some parents and some kids. And when they start going again, they pulled up beside me and they were like, "Good job, you tried. At least you tried." I was like, it almost got me killed, but I tried. Um, but it's been my experience with elk because when I'm in Colorado, especially Estes Park, the elk take the whole town over. You like literally. I got footage of it. So I've had a lot of like run-ins with elk, and they're usually pretty good about similar. They will let you know when you've crossed the line, but if after that you just kind of like if I had ran up on them after that, it would have been over. But like usually they'll let you know, like, and if you just stop, they won't really bother you, because a lot of those elk are so used to being around humans. But they have always let me know. There's been times when I was hiking, and I come across a group of them, and they weren't like on the trail, but they were close to the trail, and I was like, "Oh, I can just walk right past them." No, 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 they let me know. And it's usually during the rut, which is their mating season, in the fall when they're heavy out everywhere. And so like the males are very like aggressive, but not crazy. I'm in my experience, they've never been crazy aggressive. They just always kind of like they'll stand up, and that means don't come no further up this trail. Because I've tried it before. Like I'd be walking up the trail, and they would like stand up, and I would back up, and I would wait like 5 minutes, and I'd try it again, and they look up again. Like we told you last time, you're not coming this way. But if I just go the other way, like they're fine. But yeah, that was a crazy one. I thought they had me. How you doing, Antoinette? Sorry. I love that. Whatever level you vibe at, your reality will vibe back at you. I like that. Yeah, I'm still in Montana. At least for another couple months, I think. Yeah, I got rid of my. I already answered that. Yeah, and now that one was getting rid of my comic books was hard. Um, and I did that like over time. Like I got rid of the ones I didn't care about. Then I got rid of the ones that were worth a lot of money. And then, eventually I got around to getting rid of pretty much all of them. I think when I started traveling, I still had like 7 or 8 that I really wanted to hold on to, and I kept them. I had a box, like one of those Walmart storage boxes, at my ex girlfriend's house, and I kept them in there. And then one time, a couple years later, I came back, and I just got rid of them all. Like I didn't even remember which ones were in there, you know, and so I got rid of the rest of them. Which I'm gonna have to do that with my WNBA trading card collection probably now, but it's small. Edward, I would start applying for winter seasonal jobs August, September ish, maybe. I don't think I'd want to be a tour guide. Scenic, nah. Oh, glad that was helpful, Enter. Yeah, I agree, F Doctor. Like, you don't have to get permission to let something go, but like, if that helps you, it's an option, you know? Marcus, what up? Yeah, I'm good. I've been being good. I'm much better than I was this winter. This winter, I was sick for months. I'm doing much better. Chastity, I'm with you. Good to see you, Chastity. I think I know that coffee shop you're talking about down there. Um, but yeah, I don't hang out down. Like sometimes I'm walking and I have to walk down through there. I don't hang out down there. That gum was disgusting. Like it's unsanitary. Yeah, yeah. I don't hang out down by that wall. Pike's Market is a vibe though. Right by the first Starbucks. Never encountered a mountain lion, Tommy. No. Yeah, I don't play about them chicken wings. Let's go. Yeah, I literally walked into town and back just to get those chicken wings, and I wanted to walk into town. I wanted to try it. I hadn't been there in a while, But yeah, I was like, man, I'm gonna get me some chicken wings. Let's get it. James, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again. I try to target 1,200 for a monthly rental. That was a lot easier a few years back. It is getting harder to find that. But I know certain cities like Denver, I can usually find something. Portland, um, and other cities that like. There's a lot of cities that people don't really visit that heavy, you know, and so in a lot of those cities, I think I was looking at Idaho Falls the other day, and there was a monthly Airbnb for like $1,000. That was decent. Um, Now, if it's somewhere I really want to go and I have to pay more, if I can keep it under 15, I'm happy. I've gone higher before. I think I wanted to live. It was on like my low key bucket list. You have your real bucket list and like your low key bucket list. My low key bucket list, I wanted to like live in a high rise downtown for once. And there was one downtown Denver, 22nd floor or something like that, right downtown. And it was like 1,800 a month for the room. You know, why not? Let's go. And it was a great experience. Like it was a vibe. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that vibe. I wanted that. You see it in the movies and TV shows. People living in high rises downtown. I never done that. I like coming down the elevator and you in the city, bro. You know what I mean? Like I like that. I like just being able to walk around, get my food, do whatever. Boom, boom. Out on the balcony, see the whole city. Like it was a vibe. Totally worth it. I would have loved to pay less, but totally worth it. So I try to keep it around 12 is like my number, but I we can go higher if we need to. You know. And yeah, there are some Airbnb rentals where like they want the social interaction, and the hosts who are about that will usually say, "I love interacting with my guest, but I'll also kind of leave you alone if you don't want to talk." But I kind of prefer the places where like the host doesn't live there. I mean, I'll stay in one of those, but like I kind of like the one where like I'm not gonna be bothered. You know what I mean? But I've stayed in places where I stayed in one in Denver, another one in Denver where like the lady was very friendly and was always trying to make me food and iced tea, and we sat at the table and had long talks, and very friendly, very nice lady. So it doesn't. I can go either way. By the way, Chastity, I just want to say it's not October, so I'm gonna need you to I'm gonna need you to stop with all this October Halloween stuff. It's July, sis. Like it ain't even. I'm gonna need you to stop. I know. I'm joking. I know that's your vibe. I know that's your season. I'm gonna need you to give the people some like July 4th patriotic summer stuff, bro. Like there's no pumpkins. There ain't no pump. Where are you finding these pumpkins? I don't understand. Like I think you recycling old fall footage. I'm messing. Chastity, I'm messing with. Chastity's a good friend of mine. Chastity's a really good friend of mine, and she does amazing cozy like content. But she loves Halloween in the fall. So somehow she manages to find that type of stuff to make videos about. Anyway, but I'm totally joking, Chastity. I just have to mess with you. That's how you know I love you because I have to mess with you. Okay. Missoula in the building. Oh, what up? What up? Hargis? Yeah, I'm still in Big Sky Country. We out this way. Yes, I came into St. Paul because that's where the train station is, and I stayed in Minneapolis for like a week, I think. I did not pick a good Airbnb in Minneapolis, so I stayed there for almost a week, and then I got a hotel for a couple days, and then I left. But I did get to go to the Mall of America, which is amazing. But I do want to I want to go back to St. Paul. Um, I didn't pick a good area. It wasn't a bad area, but it just didn't have those things I like, nature and all that stuff. But I did get to go to Mall of America, and I was like, I got to come back here on a date. Like Mall of America is like a date vibe, bro. Like I'm trying to go back. Hey, the horse, thank you. Lonigans. I'm not gonna spell it. I mean, like if you in Estes Park, just go downtown and you. It's an Irish pub called Lonigan's. Lon. I was Lon again. Lonigans. Lonigans. I think. I wouldn't say I had any vices that held it sentimental. No, that's not the word I use. Like honestly, the things that had that were sentimental that were hard to get rid of. I think a friend of mine had sent me like a really nice letter from overseas, and had sent me some comic books from overseas, and that's a very special gift. And me and her had a very special fall. You know what I mean? A couple years back, and it was hard to get rid of stuff like that. Like it was hard to get rid of because I knew I wasn't gonna. I did end up seeing her a few years later, and I'm still gonna go visit her one of these days before this life is over. But you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, where someone sends you something very special and unique. That was hard for me to get rid of. But then I realized once again, I could gift that stuff to someone else and they could enjoy it. I don't think she would have minded. And it was the thought of her sending me that, and the sentiment in the letter and the time we shared together, that I value. And I still value that. And when I think about even saying this now, it affects me. Like, you know what I mean? As I'm telling this story, I remember, the time we spent together, and it was amazing. You have those special moments in your life that you'll remember your whole life. It was one of them. So I realized I'm like, I don't have to hold on to this stuff. And probably if I tried to hold on to it, it would get messed up, it would get ruined, I would lose it. I'm like, that would be worse for me than if I just let it go now. Um, so it wasn't any like vice type stuff. It was just, sentimental stuff. F Doctor, I don't, I won't know where my home base is gonna be until I like, what I mean, I have to go somewhere and it happens. I can't just pick a place and be like, that's gonna be my home base. Like it has to click. Black hole, what up? Yeah, Dr. X. I watched that game, and that was definitely a cheap shot that AT put on Caitlin Clark. It looks worse in the photographs. I mean, it was a cheap shot, but it looks worse in the pictures. It was really like a millisecond. She was just like, eh. And the players do that to each other all during the game. They're always the WA is very physical, so they're always pushing and elbowing. It was a little extra, but it looked worse in the pictures when they slow it down and show her like. But it really was just her like, eh, and she just, and that's AT's game. You know what I mean? Is it right? No. But like Caitlin's had worse. I'm glad they suspended her a game to send a message. But Caitlin's a big girl. They not stopping her shine. But jealousy. You know. Oh, it's for oh, hey, I should have known. I should have known. You a hustler, Chastity. So I should have known that was for brand deals. Okay, cool, 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 cool. That's awesome. I should have sat at the feet of the master and learned more about brand deals from you. But that's awesome. I'm gonna leave you alone then. You getting your coins, sis. I'm gonna leave you alone. You getting your coins. I ain't mad now. I ain't mad. Real Jerbear, how you doing? Norm Ross, what up? Yeah, I got to get back to Minnesota actually, comedy. Yeah, that's on my list of places to go back and really explore. And I miss you too, Chastity. Seriously, we gotta. I'm excited for the day our paths cross again. Alaska in the build. What up, JP? All these Halloween lovers in the chat now. Well, y'all, I'm messing with y'all. Messing with y'all. Angela's a big horror fan. Ugh. Cammy, I don't really gain weight. Like it's very hard for me to gain weight, which is why I've kind of given up on it. Typically, I'm more likely like lose weight. I have a very hyper metabolism. I know you stay working. I'm done gassing you up. I'm done giving you the flowers. Nope, nope. It's going back to. I'm going back to trolling you. That's more fun. No, I know you be working. I still remember that time we got yelled at for discussing internet stuff at lunch. Good times, good times. Yeah, Rain, the jealousy and the hate on Caitlin Clark is, I don't understand. Um, I would like, what did it say, a rising tide lifts all boats. Like, before she came in, none of them was getting paid what they're getting paid now. I'm dead serious. If Caitlin Clark had not come into the league, they would not have got that CBA and that deal they got this season. I promise you. I've been watching the W for a long time. There, you do not get the eyeballs, you do not get the investments, you do not get all the stuff you have now before Caitlin Clark. So, like, even if I didn't like her, even if I was like, this girl thinks she's cute, I would shut up because my pay is up. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I understand. Like, there's hate and then there's like stupid hate. Like, yeah, you've been in the league 12 years and no one ever really cared, and she come along and everybody talks about her. I get you low key hating, but don't be high key hating when she got you. Like, without her, y'all wouldn't be getting the money you're getting now. I was like, I don't really like him, but she came. You know what I mean? If I'm down at the job and there's somebody I don't like, but they give me a raise, I'm gonna be like, I don't really like that dude, but he got my coins up, so I'm gonna shut up. You know. But I don't know. Hate ain't always logical. You still haven't been back to Colorado? Come on, Chastity, you gotta get back to Colorado, man. I'm sure I'll be up there this year sometime. Yeah, that was a crazy situation. But people go through what they go through. I'm just happy the rest of us all still friends. I literally talked to Cyan 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Like whenever I'm about, I put my notice in at work, so I got to tell Cyan. He knew it was coming. He knew it was coming because when the first crack in the foundation so me and Cyan have this thing. Cyan's one of my really good friends. Everybody. I don't know anybody on this planet who has left more jobs than me, other than possibly Cyan. Okay. So whenever one of us is about to leave the job, we let the other person know. My way of doing it is I text him, I say, I've started counting. Or I'll text him, I'll be like, that's one. He knows what that means. I give him three. I give a job three. But what happens is when I get to one, two and three come very quickly thereafter. So he knows when I say that's one, that I'm probably going to be leaving this job pretty soon. So we all we stay in touch pretty regular anyway. But if one of us messages something like that, like the next day, we'd be like, okay, what's up? Listen, he'd be like, I was like, I started counting. He's like, I'll call you tomorrow. So I just talked to Cyan recently. But that's my brother. We still hang out. Me and you still really good friends. You sis. So I'm just glad that we all still cool. I would NPA. I wouldn't say I have a best park I've been to. I don't really like to rank best, favorite, all that type of stuff. I don't know. That's just not how I view things. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I be trying to tell people. This is why I have no fear of leaving a job because I always have a job. Good job market, bad job market. I've had more jobs than anybody else, and I've left more jobs than anybody else. I still always have a job. The job I'm at now literally pay me more per hour than any other job I've ever had. You know what I mean? They pay me good down there. I'm still gonna leave, because y'all know me. But I'm just like, you would think after all these years, people would be like, I still keep getting jobs and like good job. That's why I don't have the fear. But you gotta do it to understand not to have the fear. So I understand people having the fear of leaving jobs. And I understand it's easier for me to travel around to different places than other people to get jobs. But I'm like, I don't have that fear because if it's not working out, I leave and I always get another job and typically something better. You know? So yeah, man, we gonna see where we land Oh yeah, Cyan's a guy. Um, we gonna see where we land up. Where we land. Whoa, Zenith. Who you calling out? Lee, you got Cyan's. We every time we talk, we mention you and your that $20. I'll be like, yeah, I talked to like whenever you have something going on, I tell him about it. I'm like, yeah, you still ain't got that 20. Gun, no, I'm not worried about future employers being annoyed that I quit a lot of jobs. I just don't tell them. I just put like my last 5 jobs on my resume and I don't put any dates. And if they ask me, why don't you put any dates? I tell the truth. I say, hey, I do a lot of traveling. A lot of these jobs I went to 2 or 3 times. I've worked at the YMCA of the Rockies 6 times, I think now. 5, 6 times now. I don't know the dates, So I just tell them like I've traveled around a lot. I don't know the dates. Or, I'll say something like, hey, I don't know off the top of my head the dates, but the job experience is there, and I think that's more important. And I'm blessed that like I'm in a field. I work in hotels, typically in housekeeping. I'm in a field where like they not too worried about it. If it's like, hey, we can have someone who has amazing experience, who's well spoken, and as we're interviewing him, we can tell he knows what he's doing. Okay, we know this guy knows how to be a housekeeping supervisor, system manager, whatever. We can either hire this guy with his dateless resume, or we can try to find somebody else with the same experience as him. Keep in mind, this guy has years of experience. Or we can try to find somebody better. Now, everybody may not be in a field where you can do that. But in the field I've been in for the past 10 years or so, they just trying to get somebody in there to get these rooms clean. And they like, we'll figure out, you know, I'm telling you, I've maybe been asked twice. I'll tell you why. Because like, as someone who looks at resumes, I don't care. Like I'm telling you, like I was looking at resumes the other day. I didn't look at the dates. I just looked at experience. Oh, they worked here. Okay, they worked here. Okay, they worked. I don't care about the dates. People make that stuff up anyway. So I don't even put dates on there. I'm not. Yeah, when I sit down and interview, I know what I'm talking about. Like it's you ask me anything about the line of work I'm in, and it is apparent I know what I'm talking about. We can go right to the room right now. You know, so yeah, I'm not really worried about it. But I think I'm done with housekeeping for a while. Yeah, they don't need all the information. That's what I'm saying. Like we're so scared. Oh, I gotta give all the information. This stuff ain't laws. There's no law that you got to tell them everything on your resume. Tell them what you want to tell them. I worry about these people. Hey, Small William, thank you. Super Chat Squad says Small William is bear, works as bear. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. Congratulations, but I'm not. We moving. I'm not going. I'm not touching that. Bear can be many things. We're not. Hey, T Wilder, that's awesome. Good luck with your writing. Right, I've thought about starting a cleaning company, but like I don't know if that's what I want to do. Like, you know, it's a lot of commitment, and I don't know if that's what I want to do. And I would have to stay in like one place probably. Army Marine, yes, you're in Alaska right now. Let's go. Finally, let's go. Let's go. Also, I was waiting. I was waiting for you to be like, I'm there. That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Have fun. Have fun. I'm so glad you made it. Enjoying yourself. Nice. Yes. No, I'll never have kids, Nicole. No. I don't want kids, so I'm not having. Retired 2019. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm not having kids, so I mean, I'll be 47 this year. Like, I'm good on that. Yeah, that's not even a thing I have to think on. Like, you know, Yes, awesome. Retired to that team. That is awesome. 30 major league ballparks. Let's go. This is what I'm talking about. Goals and like achieving them. Let's go. That is awesome. That is awesome. Man, this is see, you see the love, the joy, when you're around people who doing stuff, as opposed to around people all the time who just want to talk about how bad the world is and how this doesn't work out, this don't work. Nah, when you're around people who like doing stuff, got goals, got plans, and they achieve it, it's amazing. And it's very inspirational. Because you're like, if they can do it, I can do it. And it doesn't have to be something you trying to do. It's just that energy, just that understanding of like, it's still a beautiful, amazing country, planet, universe, galaxy. I don't know. We can still do stuff. We can still enjoy this life. We can't let other people constantly talking about all this other stuff get us down. No, no, that is amazing. Retired 2019. Awesome. Thank you, Cammy. You know what? You just said you look younger. I get, I get like I did that video that was like I'm 46 and I'm done. I get two comments. People who are like, "You look like you're 58. You look 60," or people who are like, "You look 30." So I don't, you know what I mean? I take it all with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's like it'd be funny. Like, and I know a lot of the people who are like, "You look 65." I know I don't look 65. So I know those people are like trying to, but like bother me or troll me. But I'm like, I would like, if I did look like I don't care. You know what I mean? I look how I look. However you interpret that. If you say I look younger, I appreciate that. I'll take it. But like if people look at me and they think I look older, that's not an insult to me. You know what I mean? I look how I look. That's that like I don't know. Like some people, I think that they might be mortified. Oh, but like I don't know. Like it's just funny. Like it's funny when you're on the internet and the things people try to say to you to like bother you, and it's just so many of them are so silly. I'm like, you got to try harder. I say this all the time. I don't get good trolls. I don't get good trolls. Like I get people trying to say, anyway. But thank you for saying I look younger. Thank you. Nicole, I never really had a longing for kids. When I was younger, I just thought I would have them because like everybody has them, and I just assumed one of these girls I was messing around with, I would knock up. You know what I mean? Like that's just how what all my friends did. You know most of them anyway. So like that's just how it was. When I was in my 20s, you just eventually you get somebody pregnant. But I never really wanted kids, and so I think the closest I ever came to like there was a girl who lied to me, and she went as far as like coming up with fake paperwork. Like she had everybody believing she was having my kid, like for real. I mean, she had the fake paperwork printed up, and the dates aligned with like the last time we'd met. You know what I mean? Like she would. So I thought I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have a kid. And like during that few months, I kind of had come to terms with like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have a kid. And then she just stopped talking about it. And one day they was like, we thought you was pregnant, and she was like, oh, no, I'm not. And like it came out that she'd made the whole thing up. I guess she thought like I was gonna like start dating her because she was pregnant, but I didn't. But I feel like that was the only time I ever was like really considering having a kid. But like, yeah, I just don't, like I just never had the views for it. Oh, we got to block somebody. We got to block somebody. Haley, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad, thank you so much, Haley. Let me give you a like on that. So, main man Tim, keep up the good work. Love your stuff. Cheers from Alaska. Alaska in the building. I hope your next adventure is being planned. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Haley. I'm at the job until the end of the month, and then I think I have my Airbnb here in Montana until the end of August. So I think I'm just gonna take the month of August and just enjoy Montana, and then after that we're hitting the road again. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to be doing, but yeah, we're planning. We're planning the next. It's back to adventure time. We've been working pretty much straight through. I think maybe I had a couple weeks off when I changed jobs, but I worked all summer. Basically since last May I've been working, except for a couple weeks in there, maybe. So it's adventure time again. So I'm excited about that. And I appreciate that love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Super Chat Squad. Thank you. Thank you. See, I told you I don't get good trolls. I had to block one person. Where did I get this? I got this shirt at TJ Maxx. I think it was like $8. Coming from a woman, women don't do that. Oh, you're telling me? Yeah, yeah. That was and I bear no malice to her. I'll be honest. I did not treat her the best. And I'm saying it's right. She lied to me, but I was just as guilty as being scummy to her. Not lying and stuff like that, but I played with her emotions a lot back then. Um, so I got no hard feelings to her on that. You know, but yeah, yeah, she got me. She had me going for a while. Yeah, that was, but I mean, we was young. Yeah, Montana is lovely, T. Wilder. Yeah, Haley, that's what I'm saying. We've been stacking up. We've been trying to get ourselves in a good financial position, building dividend portfolios, things of that nature. Um, but now, now it's time to hit the road. And the goal now is to be able to be on the road and make just as much money as we make when we're stable at a job. You know, not saying it's all about the money and things like that, but like I need to know for myself that like when I'm traveling and when I'm doing my own thing, the day comes when I can make just as much income doing that as when I'm stationary. Because then there's no longer that need of like, oh, I'll get stationary and I can, if I can have just as good healthcare coverage and make just as much money, well, then I'm never going to want to go back to work. And that's the goal. There's literally nobody up here. So whenever somebody comes close to the door, I'm like, anyway, so yeah, that's the goal. We got them coins. Now trying to travel. Can I show you the room I'm in? I can show you that. I mean, it's just here's what I have my computer on, I have my phone on my laptop. So that's why my laptop's out. But I mean, it's just I don't know, just like it's the area you're supposed to go to talk on the phone. You in Red Lodge? Oh, nice, nice, Justin. Or is that just okay? Yeah, it's weird, Haley. People, I think sometimes the trolling comes from people low key kind of wanting to be doing something different, and they get triggered when they see someone doing something different. So I understand it. Do we ever obsess about our reputation? Here, the good thing about like someone like myself who is on the road a lot and I'm in a lot of different places. Who would I worry about my reputation with? I try to keep a good reputation on the internet. That's why I try to be honest and not lie, stuff like that. But in real life, I'm not around. I don't have like a group of people I'm around enough to care about my reputation. Even the people at work, I ain't gonna be. I know next year they ain't gonna see me. You know what I mean? So like, I really don't worry too much about stuff like that. You thought I was in the back. Stop, Chastity, stop. No, no, I'm not, I rented a like I have a membership at a co-working space. Okay, y'all playing with me now. I have a membership at a co-working space, bro. Huh? This is just the first floor. It's 3 floors. Don't play with me. It's three. It's three. It's 3 stories. It's 3 stories. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin in the bill. What up, Top Gun? Sin coming in for your yearly check-in since 2020. Nice, nice, nice. Still working on building up your YouTube financial freedom. Let's go. Making great headway. Glad to hear that. Yeah, man, we still here. We still in good spirits. We still living a blessed life. So I appreciate you checking in. It does look like a bath. Why would I be? I mean, I've live streamed from bathrooms before. So if that's what we got to do, yeah, Chad, I know you teasing, Chad. Low key. Uh, nah, I had the internet. at the Airbnb I'm staying at is not as good as I'd like it to be. And my first couple nights there, I was like aggravated. And then I just went to ChatGPT and I was like, the Airbnb I'm in, the internet is not as good as I want it to be. What can I do about that? And ChatGPT knows everything about me. So it's like, oh no, that's horrible. Because I know you need good internet for your YouTube channel. And it was like, it just gave me some suggestions. And one was like a co-working space. And I was like, I wonder if there's any good co-working spaces here. And a lot of the ones I went to were like too fancy, or they were like Regis or some of the other national ones that I don't like. But this one was like, I'd never heard of it. And I looked at the website, it looked cool. I like the price. It's like $240 a month for a membership. You can come, it's 24/7, and sit at a desk. So yeah, I came and I signed up for a tour, and like the owner gave me the tour. That's always pretty cool. He was a really cool guy, so I signed up. So yeah, that's another example of like, when I am on the road, my problem solving skills are like top notch, because you always run into, the whole time I had my apartment, the Wi-Fi was amazing because it was my Wi-Fi. But like you run into like problems you have to solve because you can't control everything. And that's one of the reasons I like being a nomad, is because I would have, if that internet had been good, I would have never rented this place. I never got a membership here, and I'm so glad I did, because like it gets me out the house and like gives me somewhere to go. And you might have noticed that I've been uploading more videos because I like to come here in the evenings and work on videos. So like it's cool that like not only does like nomading make my problem solving skills sharper, but it also like puts me in different situations. A lot of times that I would have never put myself in, just because like I have to be in different situations. So, and yeah, this place is nice, man. Like it's really nice. I'm surprised. I think because it's new. So like there's not as many people here yet, but like this is a really nice place. So beautifully. I don't know how long it took me to start getting paid from YouTube, because I got monetized back in like 2012, and there weren't like requirements. They just sent me an email and were like, "Hey, do you want to be part of the YouTube Partner Program?" There were no set requirements. Like back then, nobody knew about it. I think they just, if you had a channel and it was around for a while, you know, I think back then it was more they needed people to join the program, so they could get advertisers. Whereas now I think it's changed to where like they already have the advertisers. They have to keep down the number of people they put ads on. Back then it was the opposite. So they just sent me an email, and I almost didn't do it. I was like, what? I got to fill this paperwork, because like back then there was so many ways to make money. Like it was new. YouTube was kind of new. And I was like, you know what? I'll sign up. One of the best decisions in my life. What changed my life? That email and me signing up, my life would be totally different if I hadn't signed up. But yeah, they just sent me an email like, you want to join? I was like, sure. Put in a couple things, blah, blah, blah. And even then I was like, I'll probably never get a check from them. And I got that first $100 check. I think it took me a couple bucks, $3, but they actually sent me, because back then on the internet and before that, there were so many things I'd signed up for, and you never got a check because it was a $50 threshold, and you never got to that. So like $100 threshold, I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll sign up. But when they actually sent a check, and back then it said Google on the check. It said Google on the check because Google owns YouTube, but like now it's something different. And they don't send an actual check; it's direct deposit. But yeah, back then they sent me a check and it said Google or whatever. Like I was like, wow, like this is legit. But yeah, life changing moment for me. So seize some opportunities, some amazing opportunities, folks, come disguised as just like regular stuff. Do your research. Go for it if it feels right, because like it could be a game changer. Anyway, I gotta jump off. It's 9:05 and I don't have anything for dinner, so I gotta find somewhere that's open where I can get some dinner. And I gotta work in the morning. Ugh. So actually, I'm not even gonna give it that energy. I gotta work in the morning. It's gonna be a great day. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. It had been way too long. Just we got to sit down and have a discussion. Now I know that this format works, even though it looks like I'm sitting in a bathroom. I will probably stream again. I'm gonna see. There's a rooftop. I'm gonna see if the Wi-Fi extends to the rooftop. We might sit up on the rooftop one night, vibe, and stream. But now that I know this works, we're gonna be streaming a lot more. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to Angela, world's best moderator. Shout out to the usual suspects, Lurk Squad. Shout out to the Super Chat Squad. Thank y'all. The Freedom Funders. I appreciate the support. I love each and every one of y'all. We'll talk again soon.